So this is the life of the DJ as one level more to keep connectivity, because I will just never have all the music that people want, and especially like these younger kids that want really weird kind of like TikTok stuff. It's like 1 minute tracks and stuff, but if I can load them somehow, it makes a big difference for the night. So I'm very, very into the connectivity, but I'm just doing some practice things here with Starlink. So I'll show you what I've got going on. So I think I'm going to keep using my XDJ for most gigs. I do like playing my vinyl, but for these events, it's just such a better board with the mic inputs, the feedback reducer, and then being able to use USB backup if something happens to the laptop. So, but one other thing I've figured out here. So basically, I've got music here. It's saved locally. It's in my collection. I'm using my playlists. I kind of broke up their sorority playlist into like pop, rap, bangers, and club music. Bangers being like Pitbull and kind of like On the Way to House. It's not full club, but it's pretty close. Just so I can kind of like gauge the, well, keep things dynamic. We want to do rap for a little bit, and then we can, if we got to hit those club and rock stuff and pop. So, all right, so I've got 2 tracks loaded. You can see here, like, here, I'll just put this one in. See how quickly that loads, and I can scrub it too. So I'll just play it. It's going to be on this deck here. And so that's how that rolls. And then, yeah, so I'll just add one more. You see how quickly it loads. So hit play, and it should be there. That's strange. Why are we not getting... Oh, because I'm on fader. All right, you get the idea. That's pretty simple. Now, here's the thing. So say they give me some weird request. So let me go and I'll just put in, why don't we do Borderline by Madonna, and see what happens. Right? So, and I'll load something that I haven't loaded before. So why don't we do like Snooze Tune for Babies. Perfect. So it's better if you keep the navigation window open and before you change it, because what happens is when you go to view and you go to 4 deck horizontal, you're going to lose your search area there, right? So 2 deck horizontal, do the searching. I found what I need. I'm going to switch over to 4 deck horizontal, and now I'm going to load that track into here. Yeah, I'll put it over. Actually, you know what? I can put it over there too. Okay, so it's loading very, very slowly. You can see I'm connected to my Starlink Wi-Fi, not my hotspot on my phone and not my home Wi-Fi, but the Starlink one. And that is just the basic plan. Okay, so it loaded the song. It hasn't done a thing yet. But in the meantime, while that's loading, I will, let's see, it's 12:31 right now. I'm going to show you the Starlink setup outside. So I'm not going to pause the video or anything. I'm just going to let that go. But the idea with the 4 decks is that if you do the 4 decks, then you can wait while that track loads in that 4th deck and still just mix on the 1 and 2 with the control on the XDJ. The XDJ-XZ, which is what I have, not the latest one, but it only allows control on deck 1 and 2 when connected to a laptop. So just I think it's 1 and 2. 3 and 4, I think on the newer XDJ, you can control those decks with the wheels. You just choose it. I think that's one of the nice things about it. But it's fine just to play a request and kind of load it up on that deck 4, and I'll show you how. And then you could kind of like tune it a little bit or cue it up at least on the headphones. So I'll show you that. But here's the Starlink setup. So this is running off a little Anchor battery pack. It says it's got 10 hours remaining. This was at 100%, just it's at 89 now, so plenty of juice. I got chat to make this banner for me. I like that. Starlink, do not touch, in operation for connectivity. And then this stand is what I use in my mobile backpack DJ set that I will use for like cocktail hours, after parties. I just thought it would be nice to have the Starlink up on a stand, and then also for like the alignment, it worked really well, just kind of positioning the table and tilting it if I needed to. So the idea here is you could kind of like put this outside, put the sign on it, do not touch. You know, the DJ's using this, so your party can go on, and point it at the sky, right? And let's see where we're at with that loading. So Starlink right now is on a just a $5 a month standby plan. I guess in like an emergency, if I really needed to switch plans, being on that standby plan actually helps. Just gonna stir the pot here. Yeah, so let's see where we're at. But that $5 a month plan, you know, it's still 500 kilobytes a second, so it hasn't loaded yet. Let's see, because if I actually, so here's how you do it with the XZ, right? Where's the logo on here? Whatever, somewhere. But I realized, like, if you want to use channel 3 for the four decks, that's what this switch is. Because you have line and phono in the back, but you can also switch it over to computer. I always wondered what that was, and now I know. Okay, so now we're on that, and you see how this changed? Instead of it saying external input, now it changed over to it being there. And let's see, I think if I press play, it is playing. I have noticed, why do we have no sound? Oh, okay, it just loaded. You see now I have the full waveform. So that was 4 minutes. Not too bad for a 4.5 minute long track. The only thing now we're trying to do is get it to play on channel 3. Let's see if we can get this guy. That's there. Why is this one not playing? It's on through. It's on that. Line. Strange. Because I have some stuff plugged in the back in here on line input, but that shouldn't make a difference. It should be able to switch right over. Because if I shut that off, yeah, see, now it doesn't have it. And then I'll turn it back on. Well, we're gonna have to pause the video and figure that out. All right, so I figured it out. Basically, I just had to just once I just reloaded the track in there, it went. So I guess if the track is loaded and then you switch the output to computer, you're gonna have to just reload the track in there. The nice thing too is if you load this track into the other deck, because it's already cached, it just goes in immediately. So it's really cool. You can queue it. So it's in my headphones, and then I kind of like this. Playing Madonna for your baby. Yeah, so you can't, like I said, all the control has to be done here, but you can kind of nudge it. You can change the tempo. You can quantize it or master tempo it. So you could just do some stuff with your mouse there if you needed to. But this solves the problem of how do you load a track on Starlink base plan that's the $5 a month, and how do you get that to load on another deck while you're DJing your local music on 1 and 2 with your main controller, but you could just kind of like fade it down, but you could also cue that next song once it's fully loaded and then just drop it, right? So obviously for some of those requests, you're not going to be able to like mix it, like beat match it necessarily, unless you just sync it or whatever. But the idea here is just like, how do you load a track in the background on a separate deck that's going to take 5 minutes to load, and then be able to play it a little bit better than just as if it were coming off your phone with like an aux, right? So I think this is like a much better way to do it. With the integration with Apple Music, you're at least what you're getting, like the real song, more or less. You can cue it, you can hear it beforehand a little bit, you can mix until that track is loaded, fade it down, and then just load it up on. I think I'm going to use channel 4 for that because I still do run on this channel 3 an aux in on my cell phone, because sometimes there's just stuff that's only available on YouTube, and so that's for that. But I think we're going to use this deck 4 for those Starlink requests if I'm in a position where we've got no Wi-Fi and no cell coverage to run a hotspot. Every gig that I've had so far, I've been able to run my hotspot off my phone. I use Visible Wireless, fantastic deal, $30 a month with my Apple Watch, unlimited data plus hotspot, great deal on Verizon. So I've been able to do my hotspot for every gig, but I was at a really nice tavern that had like no cell coverage inside. Luckily, they had a guest Wi-Fi. I was able to get onto that. And then I did a wedding, and that tavern was like in a local place. I think it was just more the design of the building, and like it was in a valley type place, but it was in Freehold, right? And then I did a wedding out in Vineland, and that place just had no cell coverage at all. So I had to, for the ceremony, I just downloaded the music onto my phone and played it via Bluetooth to my speaker for the ceremony that was outside. And then luckily for the reception, we were on Wi-Fi inside, which was working well. But could easily see a situation where we just have no connectivity and we got to use Starlink, and to really deliver for the client on with those requests that are always so important. I think too, you're getting them to a place where they feel comfortable to participate in the music. So it's not just about you. You've gotten the party going to a place where it's comfortable for them to ask that, and it's really cool to be able to deliver those requests. Obviously, the Starlink base plan is not, enough to run your whole system, because a lot of times I just spin directly from Apple Music for the whole thing, because then my playlist is completely up to date and there's no rigmarole with like adding it to your collection and, getting the local files and everything. So maybe there would come a point where if I can do like 100 gig plan on Starlink, I would just do that. But it's nice to know also that I could just activate that if I needed to. So, we need a lot of data for this event, and I know that I can just click in the app and change my plan, and then I could change it back later. So pretty cool. Times these days in DJing and the technology, and especially the integration of all music. It really is adding a lot for the mix and the client, and just making it easier to play great music. So thanks so much.